Okay.
Lindsay, introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about Ageas.
I am Lindsay Dunbar. I am the head of digital experience at Ageas. I only started actually September time, so I'm pretty new to the role as well. And Ageas is the third largest insurer in the UK. We have multiple brands. We have our partnership with Saga, which we'll come on to. We also have Ageas, Rias, Esure, Sheila's Wheels and First Alternative. As you can tell from the accent, I'm a proud Glaswegian. I have worked in financial services since I was 19. I'm no longer 19, and I've worked across a range of roles from digital experience, marketing, customer insights. That's me.
So let's talk about what's driving this transformation. Can you paint a picture of what the Saga partnership really means?
Sure, yeah. The Saga partnership is a new partnership to Ageas. It's a 20-year long partnership, so yeah, more like a marriage. And it's really about bringing the combined strengths of both businesses together. I'm sure everyone knows Saga. It's a massive brand. They've got the brand and marketing side of things covered, and then we are covering everything else from digital journey, underwriting, claims, customer service, and PCW distribution.
It's amazing. I think having Saga previously running their own insurance with a broker panel, to go from that to now having Ageas have full ownership of those journeys, it's quite a huge shift. How did you think about the tools and capabilities you mean to deliver on that partnership?
Yeah, I think with any new partnership, it's really important to make sure that you embed that trust early on for both sides, and also make sure that you've got the right visibility across every level of the business. That was super important for us. And Contentsquare absolutely ticked that box for us. We could make sure that both sides would get the visibility that we need. And yeah, the more visibility, the more trust is then built between the two teams.
I can imagine all eyes were on execution with this new launch. Were there any concerns by adding in a new technology at such a crucial time?
Of course, there were. Yeah, it was a pretty tricky time, as you can imagine, with huge integration projects. There's no development resource available. We're all up to the wire and trying to get live, but that was why it was really important to bring Contentsquare in as well, to make sure that we had that visibility. So we were absolutely delighted that we didn't need development resource and that we could implement Contentsquare with a tag management set up. So one of our fantastic analysts, Shan, she really ran that for us and worked alongside the Contentsquare team, using all of the onboarding training to, as I said, I joined in September. We did the deal with Contentsquare by the October, and I think the team are here, we were live December time, starting to roll that out, just in time for launching Saga on the 15th of December. So it was Merry Sagamas, and getting Contentsquare live was a real achievement for us.
Amazing. So you've been live now less than 90 days, but you didn't keep this small. Can you tell us a bit about your approach?
Sure. It was all about, and I think the other speakers have discussed it as well, about getting as many people's hands on the tool as possible across the business, and making sure that we could get a lot of value very quickly. So we didn't just keep it within our team. So we made sure that we had people trained across digital journey, UX, UI, continuous improvement, customer experience, customer service, claims, product, you name it. Basically, we made sure that we started to get people trained. I think we've got over 40 people trained already. So yeah, it was a good result.
It's amazing. I mean, 40 people trained in under 90 days. That's really impressive. I'm keen to understand kind of how did you decide which 40 people to train first? Kind of how was that decision made?
Yeah, well, we did have an existing tool as well. So we had an existing pool of people that we knew would be interested in using the tool. But we also had a look at who our most customer-focused teams were, and that's ultimately how we kind of decided who should be getting access to the tool first and trained up. So the people that need to have the visibility, that get the customer feedback, that can then drive change forward for us in the business.
Amazing. And what's the result of democratizing access to the tool this quickly, like having so many people have their hands on it? What's the result of that you're seeing?
I think it's just lots of different useful insights across various teams. You know, each individual team's got their own KPIs that they're going after and things that they're focusing on. Having access to Contentsquare really helps that. Example being customer feedback comes in. If someone in the customer support team can actually go in and find those sections in Contentsquare, we can have a nice conversation with them to understand, is there something that we need to solve here or test, and do we want to make a change as a result? Amazing.
And I'm interested to know, how are you sharing those insights across the business? Because I know obviously you've got 40 people that are trained. It's amazing, but not everyone has a login, leadership teams. How are you sharing those insights across the leadership teams?
Yeah, I think when it comes to leadership teams, the teams want to have that visibility, but they don't have the time to sit and watch 15-minute long sessions. I would love to spend all day in Contentsquare, but unfortunately I can't. So the team are fantastic in that they will come to me or take to our governance and partnerships forums that we have. They'll bring shortened clips and we'll then turn them into GIFs. So when we're talking about a specific opportunity or test that we perhaps want to run, we then just show a quick 5-second GIF to kind of highlight that area in the journey and exactly what we're talking about. And I think that's been really impactful. I work well on visuals, so I think, a lot of other stakeholders in the business do as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing. You used a phrase I love when we were discussing this, finding the needle in the haystack. What do you mean by that?
Oh, absolutely. So, for me, it's something that I've said for a number of years, and back to the customer feedback side of things, that, you'll regularly have a bit of customer feedback and it's maybe one or two and you think, well, how are we going to solve for this? Prior to Contentsquare, we would perhaps not be able to understand the problem. We would say that we couldn't recreate it, or it was perhaps intermittent, and that seems to have completely gone away with Contentsquare already. We're able to get a bit of customer feedback, find that customer, start watching that session, but then with the technology available, understand, is that one customer, 500, 5,000, and we can then quantify the size of that opportunity as well. So it's taking the needle in the haystack, but then turning it into what is actually the size of that opportunity and what do we need to do as a result.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not just finding problems, we're actually able to quantify the opportunities. And I think a lot of people in the audience will resonate with this. Like FSI websites, they aren't really about shopping baskets. There's never really a clear kind of revenue target or clear conversion. It's about guidance, applications, customer service. So measuring impact can look very different for all of us in the room. So I'm just keen to understand at Ageas, like, what does impact actually mean? Kind of what does good look like, and how do you prove the value of those insights?
Yeah. Obviously, we are super focused on our new business conversion funnel. That's everyone's bread and butter at the end of the day. But we're really focused as well on increasing digital adoption. How easy is it to log in, make a change online, renew online and claim? We measure Net Promoter Score, customer effort score. If there's something to measure, we do, right down to how successful is our weather hub for customers having damage as a result of weather events.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And your team's been doing something really smart with this data. Can you walk us through how Shan's been using it?
Sure. Shan's been building some really great dashboards for us recently. When we have spotted something that we want to change, she has then, when we've implemented that change, pulled together a dashboard so we can measure the pre and post. previously to do that, and we did have other capability to do that, but it would take a really long time to set up, and she assures me it's a few clicks of a button and we've got a fantastic dashboard up and running that gives us that visibility. So we're then very easily able to look at the pre and post and see if the changes that we're making are giving us the required result.
Absolutely. And you've also been using AI to accelerate this analysis using Sense. Tell us a little bit about that.
The Sense, I think, is my absolute favourite part of the tool so far. I think I was mentioning to a few people in the room already, when I think about how much time and effort we used to spend in trying to get insight from session recordings, from tools in the past. You could look to do a deep dive on a page or a specific journey, and it could take weeks to go and assess 100 sessions, or a long time. Now with Sense, the team can go away in the space of an afternoon and answer a question by watching, say, 10 sessions, getting a feel for it, and then analysing 90 to then give that really robust view. So as a stakeholder looking for very quick answers, it's just absolutely fantastic for me.
Absolutely, saving lots of time. That's amazing. And you also mentioned happy accidents, things that you weren't even looking for.
Yeah, that's testament to the team going in and using it as much as they do. So I'm regularly getting feedback where, as an example, Tom in the team, he looks after our conversion rate optimization program. He's going in to make sure that the tests are running as expected. But when he's doing that, he's coming across other things that just he's come across by accident. We had an example a couple of weeks ago where there was just something not quite working, and we actually would never have had that visibility, and with Contentsquare we do. So we, again, very quickly back to, we understood the size of it, it's now on a backlog to get fixed. So
it's amazing. Yeah. That's the result of democratizing the tool, giving people access to it. You find things that you would never have anticipated. So that's fantastic. And just bringing this all back to the Saga partnership, how is all of that affecting this relationship?
Yeah, I think it's really helping us to build the relationship there. They know that we have the visibility of the journey that they want, and that we have that deep vertical view of how each page is performing, and we can then take that back to the team and have great conversations about market and spend and efficiency and all that good stuff. So yeah, I think I've certainly been banging the Contentsquare drum internally and saying how fantastic it's been for us.
Amazing. One final question from me, because I know we're running out of time. You took on 40 people from across 8 functions from zero to confident users in the last 90 days, which is amazing. For the folks here today who might have Contentsquare sitting in maybe 1 or 2 teams, what's your one piece of advice to break out of those silos?
Think about your organisation, think about your structure and the number of teams that you have, and think about how Contentsquare could help every single one of those teams and put it into their hands, back to the power hour, making sure we're doing something like that. I'll be stealing that. And I think just inviting as many people as possible to see the power of the tool is so important.
Absolutely. Well, Lindsay, it's been amazing talking to you. Thank you so much. Please do grab her today if you have 5 minutes to get to know a little bit more. But please give Lindsay a round of applause. Thank you.